various specific issues that were raised. The governor has addressed several of them in his address, and then the additional issues that have been raised also. So may I suggest that we move forward by doing this? You have consulted the document that was guiding us, that would be guiding us in this plenary session. Please look through it, and if there is any pending matter, you can raise it by first naming the department and then raising the matter, and we can then kindly ask the representative of that department and county government to kindly offer a response.
My name is Dr. Washira Kariuki from Loresho South Residents Association. During the last forum we had here in February, we raised the issue of our roads, and the government acknowledged that actually our roads were in an embarrassing situation, and we were promised right here at this forum that work on our roads would start with 6 weeks. Even after the meeting, I had a chat with Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi. I believe he's the cabinet member in charge of roads, and he did promise. Initially, we would talk on a very regular basis, and promised that that work would actually start as promised. But as it went on, I don't know whether it's a campaign or what, my phones were not picked and my messages were not answered. And I would just want to point out that I believe promises that are made, especially in a forum like this one, in public, and especially by the governor, for us as members of CARA, it comes out very poorly when 4 months later, that has not happened, and we've had no response at all from the government. So I just want to know what has happened, and was the promise really a serious one?
Good morning, my name is Christine Omondi, South Sea Association. On the meeting, for the first roundtable meeting, there was something about South Sea when it comes to grabbed open spaces. The playgrounds behind Shek Temple, the Rangers playground, Kuguru grounds, Akiba United playground, and the plot next to South Sea School. Now the governor came and visited us, and we had a talk about this, and the solution was that these playgrounds should be given back. Up to now, we have not had the playgrounds given back. And then another thing that is going on is some of these people are now digging boreholes in those playgrounds. So we are wondering, because like the one in Rangers, there's a borehole at MUA, there's a borehole at Rangers itself, and then now this is being dug in the middle of the estate. So what is the proximity for a borehole before another one is dug? And what is the procedure, and how does it go about that we have so many boreholes within a short span of each other?
Okay, thank you very much.
And then the multi-story buildings, because even right now there's one right in the same place, overlooking all the other small houses. So even the other people who are staying around don't have privacy, because everybody who's going to be in that flat will be looking into your house and whatever is going on.
Chris from CUNA Neighbors Association. Now, our issue was kiosks. We've talked about these kiosks being showed up on Lower Kabete Road and CUNA Road. They've been put up. We've complained. We've come to your office. We've talked to you a number of times. And we got all these wonderful phone numbers to call and come and see me and blah, blah, blah. We've tried all that. Even when we come to the office, you do not see us. It is a bit... It is very... What is the word I can use without being rude? It's very disappointing to be ratepayers who ask for all this stuff to go on. These kiosks are county kiosks. You put up 8 at the intersection of CUNA Road and Lower Kabete. We asked for them to be removed. No association participation. It's causing traffic. And the worst part is, when I went there with your representatives from the local, area, the guy was trying to sell us Mira. Now you can imagine what is going on there. It has become a mess, traffic, there are no toilets, there's no water. what are we talking about sanitation? We had a cholera outbreak the other day, but it doesn't seem to be an issue because no one is taking our calls, no one is speaking to us. We've written a number of times, and I'd just like to know, what are we supposed to do? Can I stop paying rates because that guy is not conforming to what I'm having to conform to? If I build, I have to go through approvals and pay all these things. Please help us understand the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Engineer Karanja, if you could first begin, and then I think the other two issues have to do with lands and planning. If I can ask Mr. Kayemba to prepare for response there. Engineer Karanja, please, you can grab the microphone.
My name is Engineer Karanja. I'm the Chief Officer in charge of Roads, Public Works and Transport. Now, there is this issue of the Loresho roads. I've talked with the Dakar here, and he has told me the challenges they have there. But in all roads, we have challenges also, because we are many players. We have Kura on board and us. But for their case, there are some roads that fall under that body, and there are others that will address. It's unfortunate it has taken long, but you know the Nairobi roads, we have a network of about 3,000 kilometers. And the county has not been receiving funds for road maintenance until recently from the national government. So we are just getting from what we have been doing is from the resources that we collect from the county. Otherwise, most of the money is with the government bodies like Kura and Kera. But we try to address whatever we can do with the little resources we are getting. But I think we might start getting some funds from the Kenya Roads Board to maintain the roads, because they are the money we pay through for the fuel levy is the one that is supposed to maintain these roads. But what we are doing, we are trying even to do our own in-house teams that can come and address but we cannot be able to do that at a go, because it's 3,000 kilometers, quite a network. But we are starting with estates, and I just want to promise Loresho people, we are going to be there from the week after next. We are going to survey all the works that require urgent attention. Then at least we can start from there as we continue with the rest of the estates. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Mr. Hayemba, two matters with regard to South Sea and CUNA. One regarding playgrounds and building permissions for high-rise buildings around lower buildings, and the second in CUNA with regard to kiosks, the request for their removal and the frustration that has been expressed in just trying to know what happens next or the way forward.
I have a team, and we handle different aspects of this development control. The issue of kiosks, actually as planning department, we don't approve kiosks. And when this comes to us, we then engage the inspectorate and sub-county administration to handle. And fortunately, we are represented, the inspectorate is represented here. May I request SG Mangi to specifically talk about public plots, not just in the South Sea.
The chairman and all protocols observed. First of all, let me say the issue of land grabbing. Since we came into the office, the county government has not allocated a single plot. And that one, I start to be challenged on it. We have not allocated a single plot. But having said that, we all know the history of our country. There was a time when the allocation of land in Nairobi was just the in thing. So what we are contending with is now trying to correct that mess. And I believe most of you who have been looking at papers have seen, like the last time we had a whole page of plots that we want to be revoked. In fact, Normally, the word we use is we want the NLC to evaluate and see what can be done. But at the back of our mind, what we want to tell them is, can you please, because we must follow the law. Once you have a title, we cannot just walk in tomorrow and cancel the title. We'll be taken to court, and there we are. As you know, our courts will just say he has a valid title. So now we are going through the National Land Commission, and most of you will have seen quite a number of plots have already been revoked. Like the ones in Gay Estates, I can say we wrote the National Land Commission, they have been attended to, and action has been taken. In fact, we started by writing to the National Land Commission. Having said that, the plots in South Sea, where they came out of a subdivision and the owner never surrendered the land to us, and he still went ahead and got a title. So you can see the kind of challenge we have to go through. We have to now go through the National Land Commission and say, this guy has a title, can you please revoke the same title? Because the land was never in the first place surrendered to the county. That means the council never got the title for it. And it is good. We are all working for a better Nairobi. It is very difficult for a single person to know every single plot that maybe was issued out there, and you see the owner has never done anything, it has made open, and tomorrow he comes and he wants now to start development. Please raise it with us. I know I have a few enemies because by the end of the day, I write to the National Land Commission telling them this was never, the proper rules were never followed. Can you act on it? And this is like a court. We also to present our case. And it would be good for also Kara. Please assist us also to reinforce this. It's not a simple battle, but I know by the end of the day we shall win. Thank you.
I would like to speak to urban development in general, and in particular I will address why the city is experiencing high density, or what we are calling multi-dwelling story building. After independence, we did the first plan, comprehensive plan in 1971. It's called Nairobi Growth Strategy, that was supported by the World Bank. That plan was to accommodate growth, because after independence, a lot of our population came to the city, and there were restrictions during independence. So it was basically aiming at accommodating growth. That plan was premised on the belief that the government is going to support or fund that accommodation, and that didn't happen. The city stayed in a very chaotic state without a plan to guide development. Cities all over the world grow in an orderly manner, in a guided way, if they are following a plan that is integrated, a plan that speaks to all the aspects of urban development. What I mean by aspects is that a plan that is talking about construction, a plan that is talking about water provision, a plan that is talking about environment, the plan that is talking about roads, integrated. The first integrated plan has just been delivered by the governor of Nairobi, Dr. DR.KIDERO. We began in 2012, but it picked momentum in 2013. We did it for almost 3 years because it was very integrated and very comprehensive. We finished in 2014. It is now the statutory document or the visionary plan that is guiding the development, urban development in the city of Nairobi. So things went haywire. We want to appreciate your concern. We want to appreciate that people really get annoyed to see things happening outside. But that is the situation we had. Moving forward, as the governor said, we have built now the foundation. We have the plan. What are we doing about it? The city has now commissioned, because it's actually like a concept plan, it's too broad. We have commissioned to subdivide the city into smaller pieces so that we can now zero down and do what we are calling integrated area detailed plan. And that speaks to the local issues, that speaks to the issues in South Sea, that speaks to Ngei, that speaks to Kayole. And that is the only way we are going to clean this city moving forward. Governor said here we are dealing with history, a very old history. Even some of us were not there, and we have to deal with it. So moving forward, we think the city will be on the right track, because as we plan, we are planning with water, with the engineers of roads, with the environment. We are dealing with what we are calling sustainable Nairobi moving forward. Coming to the multi-stories at the moment, the market has refused to comply with the old zonings that we have. The market is moving, the city has to grow, the city has to be competitive, and therefore we have realized that there are areas that are threatened by these market forces, and the biggest areas that are threatened, I can say South Sea is one, Kileleshwa, Kilimani, Westlands and Parklands, all those areas are threatened. I mean, the market is saying we locate compact development here. And moving forward, all trends in the world is that cities are becoming compact for efficiency and ability to be able to, economies of scale, to be able to provide transport, to be able to provide water and all that. So what we are doing is that I engaged South Sea, I've talked to the association South Sea, and we agreed that because we have actually commenced the work in South Sea, we shall engage them. And what we are going to do is that South Sea has got marshonate areas and has got other areas with big plots. The areas that are threatened are the ones with big plots. So we'll have to agree with you, and we'll have to discuss what kind of compact development. When I mean compact, is tall buildings. How do we do it? How do we do compact development and still take care of our environment? Because quite a number of us have been, I mean, I know you have traveled, quite a lot of us have come from Singapore. The governor sent us there, and they are operating with high density developments, but the environment is very good. So what we are saying is that where we are going to deal with high density development or multi-story buildings, we'll have to talk to the resident and agree on how we maintain the environment. What percentage of that development is left as open area, and what does the developer do about it? You have to do it in such a way that the communities are able to enjoy that. So that is how we are dealing with it, and I won't be able to tell you that nothing is happening in this city. Areas are threatened. Lavington is threatened. Adheru Road is threatened. Kilimani is threatened completely. Kileleshwa, Westlands, everywhere. Everybody wants to go compact. And even if you press it, I mean, it's like if you get a baby and you don't want that baby to grow, the city has to grow. So what we want to do is that to make sure the city grows in an orderly way, where we are speaking to you, where we are speaking with the users, where we are speaking the owners, to make sure we bring up developments that are sustainable, that are caring for the environment. I think overall that is what I can see. I've talked to her, they have come to us, and they are complaining about tall developments. And if you remember South Sea has got marshionates and areas that were predominantly occupied by the Asian communities, and they were big. They were very big. They have sold them. They have sold them, and they have sold them to our colleagues who have come from the other country. They have sold them, and those guys who have bought, they don't want a small house. They are saying it's not economical. So what do? We need to plan to accommodate that, and we need to talk to you people. Right. So when we are coming there for detailed, integrated, detailed plans, help us. Let me talk about Muthaiga North. Quite a number of these areas are staying with very old policies of 79, basically, all of them. They were changed a little bit in 2006, and Muthaiga North has not been changed, is still half an acre. But people there are asking, they are saying they want to subdivide the land to their children. They want to get, majority of the people are aged. They are saying, I want to get half of it and sell so that I can be able to maintain myself. So that is the basis on which we want to do a plan. That is the basis on which we want to engage you, so that we agree that, are you accepting half an acre? Are you accepting a quarter? Are you accepting, can we engage really to do a city together? That is what I'm asking. In regard to the policy, yes, after the master plan, I said it's a broad visionary plan. The county engaged a consortium of consultants to help us revise the old zoning policy that I'm talking about. And already they have completed, we have a draft, but the draft cannot be used before we go to the residents. So that's where we are. But above that, most important is the area detail plan that really zooms down to the local level. That is most important below the broad development control policies that we've done.
Thank you, Waziri. You have given me a very tough issue to handle of kiosks, because they are all over in the city, those illegal structures. Some of them are very, the shapes are quite bad, the image is quite bad, and we have a culture among our small-scale traders of moving near the customers. They don't want to wait for customers to come to them. I don't know where this culture began. We want to take businesses to the doorsteps of our clients, and it's a culture that we are trying to fight. Some people argue that we have hawkers, we have kiosks, because we do not have enough trading areas. I want to say in the city, we have markets all over. Markets are there all over. But you realize, because it's a two-way, some of them want to take their businesses near the customers, and you people, the resident association, you feel comfortable buying from the near point, other than traveling to the supermarket and all that. This has made us to fight an issue that should not have been there in the city, illegal structures. Initially, they were putting all manner of structures. There was even big corporate bodies like Coca-Cola giving kiosks and putting them all over. This messed the image of our city until the governor formed a task force. We ensure that we have the city organized. We formed a task force to remove all the illegal structures. But before this was done, there was a market that was opened. Mudhurwa market was meant for the hawkers, was meant for those small-scale traders. So they were supposed to move there. But again, as I said, it's our culture. They don't want to move there. They want to move near to the offices, near where we are. That's where they all want to move. So we formed a strong task force that was led by His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, and the mandate was to bring order in the city and ensure that the illegal structures go. Yeah? They even attempted us to come up with something that we call modern kiosks, so that we can remove those bad images of kiosks in the city. The model behind modern kiosk was an incubation of a business for 5 years, after which we bring it down, and now you will have enough capital to get rent to a good house. That was the initial thinking. But now they have become permanent. Those modern kiosks, they have now become permanent. So we started by removing these illegal structures because we wanted an organized city. By this time, we are in the integrated development plan, and we knew where markets should be, where shopping centers should be, and therefore, the idea was to get rid of these illegal structures. And we started so well in Isli. Those that come from Isli, they bear witness. We cleared all of them. Then we moved to Buruburu. Buruburu, we cleared all of them, and this is what brought problems to us. And the information went all the way. It took a political dimension. It went all the way to the president, accusing our governor of just being busy killing small-scale traders. It took a political dimension. But the heartbeat of the county government is that we need to have an organized city. Right now, the instructions that I've given my administrators is nothing new should come up. And even what is already there, it must go. We need to have an organized city.
So, with all protocols observed, may I start by answering a question which was raised by, was it Nancy? about the boreholes. Yeah, you complained about too many boreholes, I think, in South Sea. Yes. Yes. So those actually, the licensing of drilling of boreholes is done by the Water Resource Authority. It used to be called WARMA. They are the people who actually issue licenses. What I can say is that we actually have too many boreholes in Nairobi. To be exact, we have got about 3,140, which are threatening the aquifers, which are around 200 meters. Right now, all the boreholes we are drilling, especially the 40 ones we are doing for the drought recovery, we are going to 300 meters. So we have written to the Water Resource Management Authority to note that they should not issue permits very close, permits to boreholes which are very close to each other. When I was in the university, we used to be told that they should not be closer than 50 meters. I don't know whether that has been revised. So there are issues which were raised, the paper which has gone round, I'm sure we have tried to answer them. But if you think that the answers are inaccurate, we can go back and relook at the issues. But allow me to state a few things which we have done as a county to make sure that we move forward in a very positive way in the area of solid waste. As you are aware, the solid waste situation in Nairobi is something which must be addressed every day. In 2013, when the governor came in, we were collecting 600 tons of waste every day. And now we are collecting about 1,800. That means the city is becoming cleaner and cleaner. This is because of the deliberate efforts which we have done to make sure that we collect waste as frequent as possible and closer to you as possible. So some of the measures we have done is that I've been allowed to buy another 40 trucks out of the 20 which I have, plus 85 skips. That means from if they are supplied, which we are hoping they'll be supplied by the end of this month or mid next month, every sub-county will receive an extra 6 skips. And where there are high generation of waste, we shall put more skips. Because right now we have got about 27 skips all over Nairobi. So you will find us closer to you and more frequent because we are buying another 42 trucks. We have also created a directorate in the county to specifically deal with solid waste because we were thinly staffed. But I'm happy the CEC, through the chair of the governor, he has allowed us to create a directorate which will now concentrate specifically on solid waste, and I hope it will become a company like Nairobi Water, which it deals with specific issues like water. So I don't think I'll add more than that unless there are serious questions on the issue of solid waste. But you must realize that solid waste is a daily thing. We are really revising our structures to make sure that we work with you to make sure that anywhere where there is waste, we attend to it. But we must make a program because you are producing waste every day, just like me, I'm producing waste every day. So with that, I think if there are any issues, I'm ready to answer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm standing for the item number 7 on this list. I'm in charge of public service management. And I think largely the question is regarding public participation. In summary, what perhaps I'm trying to say under public service management is you actually have someone you can reach even during this time of campaigns. We have administrators right next to you, and actually that is the whole essence of devolution. We are devolved, and those are the people, and each one of them oversees a team of 5 ward administrators. So I had some people from Mountain View also expressing some need. Don't get stranded. Make a point of getting to know where that office is within your area, and I think you'll find it easier to have your problem addressed at that level so that we can be able to help you up there. Thank you very much.
We'll do one round of any other matters that you need to raise, and then we will close after those are responded to.
Okay, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, my name is
And please, if you
Lieutenant
can,
Colonel
Lieutenant Colonel, if you can keep it brief also, and
Chacha.
concise. Thank you.
from Feather Estate Residents Association. I've just 3 quick ones. One is for on urban planning. Madam, you have explained so well about compound development, but the purpose of us having associations is that you liaise with us, yes? As much as you say that we are heading that direction, please, before you approve a structure, liaise with us. And I'll give an example where Feather Estate, we have our own charter. We have said that you can actually build up to first floor, demolish your bungalow, then put up first floor. And we are being governed by things like the sewage, water systems and all that, because if you put up a flat and you're using that small sewage system, I mean, surely that's the beginning of a lot of problems. So kindly please liaise with us. Yes, we have said we want one floor up. You can do that, but then get consent from us, because we sit down as a committee. You tell us what you want to do, then you give us the plan, then we give consent for you to go now to lands and get the approval from the urban development, and that way it would be fine. But now if you start from the other end, you do not know what you are saying, that's a big issue. Like somebody wanted to put 8-floor building in the middle of Feather Estate, 8th floor. And the first thing we saw was in the papers asking whether there is anybody against it. And we had now to write again and say we are against. So please, ma'am, your plan is very good. The compact development, we have no objection with that, but please liaise with the fair, otherwise then there's no point of having an association. The second one, quick one please, is the ministers, the county executive. Please, when you promise and you don't do, come back to us. Don't come to Feather Estate to tell us in 2 weeks' time we shall do your roads, and now it's 4 months. Then why were you telling us in the first place? So please own what you say, and if you know that you can't, give us a feedback so that we know that you can't. Water, Nairobi Water, you're here, it's good you're here. We have written even to your MD about Feather. One of your staff in the field tells us the next neighboring estate, no names, that one must get water. That's an order from the county government. Are they special people than Feather Estate? And you just cut water, you ration water, you give us water once a week, then one day you cut it completely for 1.5 months. Was the rationale? We understand the water shortage, but if you are rationing the water for 1 day, give us. That's all what we want. Let's get that 1 day water, but don't muzzle Feather Estate for 1.5 months. I have personally paid 8,000 shillings this month alone to get water boosters into my place. So please, ration and ration correctly and equally, equitably.
Thank you.
And lastly is something has been disturbing us, and I think maybe for the other people also. The county plus Kara, can we come up with a formality on security? I'm a security expert. So sometimes you find that you have security issues in the estate, whereby as a committee you want to address, and you find that you may need the local security organs. Then the OCS tells you, is it within the law? So which law are we using? If we have come up with the regulations that are approved for us as members of that committee, that this is the way we conduct business in this estate. So somebody comes to the contrary, then we call the police to come and assist us, and then the police says, but that is his house. He has every right to do what he wants to do in his house. We are sharing the roads, air and everything, and then the police says it is his right. So please, Kara, can you come up with a proper security coordination effort on how we can address some of these burning issues? Whom do we consult?
I'm from Satsi Residents Association. Just one burning question, and maybe our senior officer or Madam Moama can answer this. The change of user, which is being advertised every now and then in the dailies, what is the procedure that you follow as county to enforce that? Because we have given out petitions for some of this change of users, which are not actually in the locality, but the LR number goes to South Sea, for example. What is the mode of procedure, or how do you follow this up? When we petition, is it being acted upon? Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's enjoy diversity. I'm Hamida Malasen, Nairobi Local Urban Platform Chair, and I happen to come from this constituency. I want to raise concern on the issues that have not been addressed so far. The issue of busted sewer, which is cut crossing, that is number 4 in the article number 4 in the matrix number 4, and it is an issue of concern in different areas. But I want to specifically talk about in Makina area in Kibra, whereby there's a burst sewer which has not been addressed. We've tried to contact almost everyone, but nothing has been done so far. And unfortunately, there is water rationing, and when we have water, we find that the waste increases. Now we don't know what is the connection between the sewer and the water. And again, there is issue within the informal settlements, whereby we have a lot of cartels, water cartels, whereby residents are not getting water. We take cognizance of the fact that there is no enough water. But unfortunately, there is cartels whereby other people get water while others don't, despite the fact that it is not enough. And again, within the estates, there are no waters in the households, but along the roads, we find water being sold to the residents. So I would like to the Nairobi Water Sewage Company to actually address the issues. In fact, the issues of the sewer, which is a major concern in terms of health. Thank you.
Mine is on the blockage of sewer lines.
Please give us your name.
Georgina from CSUDP Local Urban Forum. In Umoja, we complained many times when certain constructions were going on. We even took a photo, sent it to the office of our governor. But the response we got was that that particular building belongs to a very important person in the county government, and it cannot be touched. So our question has been, who is this in the county government that is so important than the residents? She has decided, is a she or I think or he, has decided even to block the sewer line. And don't forget, that's where I live. My house is just next. And the emergency lane is also blocked. If anything happens today in Umoja, where I'm talking about, nobody can be saved. Just because of that particular person who is so high in the county government. We appreciate others are doing a very good job. We call them, we work very closely with them, but that particular one, we were unable. It is still there. People are complaining. Secondly, we got from the corporate development. It's a very good idea, you are doing a good job, but there are still others that are coming up. And of course with the approval from the head office. That's what we are made to understand. We also have a public utility land in Umoja 2 at the Chief's Camp, where we had one of the churches claimed to have bought the land. It was revoked by Minister of Lands. It was also revoked by the county government. That person is still there. He is now ready to construct. Then the public or the community in the area are wondering, what is the county government doing? Can we be assisted to have that person removed so that we have public utility facilities constructed in the area? We also have a lot of food prepared along the roads. And if you want, go to the Chief's Umoja 2 at the Chief's office. There is a drainage there which smells so badly. And on top, there are people preparing chapatis and I don't know what. People pass by buying in the evening, even those which are called African what? They are called meturas, sausages. They are prepared there. Yes. And they are bought. Our children are eating. How safe
are our children and ourselves. Bearing in mind that we have shortage of water. We would like to be assisted on that, please.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dana Seidenberg representing Kibagari Estate, and I spent 25 years as a urban policy person at the Institute for Development Studies at the University of Nairobi. I'm going to keep this very short. Of factors that contribute to uncontrolled densification, solid waste that has no place to go, water shortages, illegal buildings on riparian land, proliferation of kiosks, which pained the gentleman over here, but which I don't think are bad. Have you ever asked yourself, what are people going to do? How are they going to make money if they don't have outlets to sell things, sell products? And these issues boil down to one thing, and that is we really do not have any kind of population planning program in place. We have not had it since really the late era of the Kenyatta era, the first Kenyatta. And if you don't think this is a serious problem, I would like you to look at the genesis of Al-Shabaab, the genesis of Boko Haram in Nigeria, the gangs in the South African settlements, the war in Rwanda, and you will come to the same conclusion that most people in the know come to, that we need a planning of population. We have too many people, and we're squeezing people into a small area, and why should we? And what will this city look like in 10 years when we have 5 million people to feed and no jobs and finite resources? Thank you.
My name is Beth Mwai. I'm from Kilimani. I'm with the Kilimani Project Foundation. And what I'd like to talk about is noise pollution and the proliferation of nightclubs and bars right next to homes, which is adversely affecting the the people around. Several families affected within Kilimani, with clubs being opened every other week, every month. Pretty much we have a new club coming up. So this is lands and physical planning. Environmental resources, noise pollution comes into play there, and also trade and industrialization. How is it that they're getting these licenses?
Good morning. I'm Catherine Wangoi from Kibera. I'm a resident of Kibera. I'm humbled to be here with you guys. We have been looking for this opportunity for long, because when you go to City Hall and you're from Kibera, they look at unaleta vita hapa rudi huko. But today I'm humbled. Thank you so much. My question goes to the Nairobi Water. At the moment, we are buying 20 liters of water at 20 shillings and 30 shillings. Remember, this is a mama mboga. She can't afford that money because there are so many cartels in Kibra and Nairobi Water. They know that, but we have been trying to reach them. Nothing is being done. Secondly, we are talking about the garbage collection. Since the NOS project was done, now Kibera, garbage is everywhere. Garbage is everywhere, and we are tired of that. And we are trying to talk to our sub-county. He's trying, but his hands are tied. There are work that he can't do. We are trying to reach even the ward administrators. You find that in Kibra, some of the ward administrators, they don't have even an office. Residents, they don't know about the ward admins because there are no offices. Some of the ward admins are sharing offices, and that is so bad. In public participation, most of these documents, most of things here were brought up during the public participation, and the public participation was those issues were raised, and we at least tried to partner with you guys, and each sector was given some committees in community. People are willing to work with you guys, but for you, you are not ready to work with them concerning the issues, because you find that those issues are affecting the residents of Kibera.
Let's say the entire Mkuru. And one of the issues we've had to contend with is the issue of sewer systems in Mukuru. I know there is a department called the informal settlement region. I appreciate that. That was a very good initiative by Nairobi Water to basically handle issues around informal settlement. But the other day we were trying to work with that department to unblock a sewer system that is disturbing residents of Mukuru, which goes beyond Mukuru to other areas. Your team came, yes, that was good. We organized in terms of a community mobilization and organizing. They came one day, we went on the ground, identified the issues that needed to be done within the sewer system. Unfortunately, they didn't come with any tool, any item to do that job. We had to get some of these things from the community to do that job, and then after a day, they disappeared. As we speak, that sewer system has not been unblocked, and it's a health hazard as we speak, thanks to the rains that have not come. But in case we have them today, then I don't know what we'll be talking about. I'd really love to know who I can engage on that. Secondly, there are a number of projects initiated by Nairobi Water in collaboration with other stakeholders to advance, access to water and sanitation services. Unfortunately, most of these projects, as we speak, are white elephants in Mukuru. I have a list of about 41 of them. Each one has a logo of Nairobi Water. They have no water, they are not operating. I really tried to access, some of the people who can address these issues, and we even did a petition to Earth Water Services because they are your partners. Nothing has happened. In fact, what Earth Water did was to tell us we look for a day to come, and that was the end of it. So in this forum, I would love to know how do we address those issues collaboratively. I think that would be very great. Thank you.
Good morning. I tried to take down a lot of the final points, but I realized that a lot of the issues are repetitive within each of the sub-counties and residential areas. The whole issue on burst sewers and blockages, Engineer Muguna, would you please stand? For purposes of this meeting, so that we can have a proper channel of communication and response back, Engineer Muguna is here. I know he's taken down the points, and we should be able to begin to do a work plan to get people on the ground to sort out all the issues. I think I noted Umoja 2, we are looking at blockage of sewer lines and burst sewers. We have got one in Makina as well. We've just listened to Mukuru area, so I think Engineer Muguna would be able to handle that from that area. And you have, I think, had the good fortune of listening to Engineer Kimori, who's overall in charge. But we will put it specifically under him because sewage and blockages are handled by Nairobi Water. Right? So we'll handle it from that perspective. In terms of urban planning, we know we have issues. Urbanization is real, and the challenges faced by urbanization are with us daily here in Nairobi. And one of the things we're trying to do, as Madam Rose talked earlier today, is to be able to see how we can replan and put policies in place that can be followed. Yes, we do apologize that at times we do have issues raised and we are unable to respond as fast as we should, but we'll take them all on board. And that's something I think, as she spoke, and Christopher Kayamba, who was also here, spoke, we would also be able to handle that. That also goes along with the planning of population. I think the comment from the lady from Kibagare Estate is well noted. And these are the things that, even as the act was being put into place, we need us to become, as the governor said, get into a working group so that we can be able to address these things together. The act that was enacted late last year, early this year, does state that your participation is key. And I think we need to take it to the next step so that we move from talk to actual action and constant feedback. I think one of the things notes that I have taken down from this meeting is that yes, because we do face challenges, and then we do come after 4 or 5 months to meet again, or after 3 months, and the fact that it is still not handled is a frustration. So I think I'll take back from this meeting is this. We have the sub-county administrators. Let me have them all stand up. All the sub-county administration team that is seated here. That is only part of them, right? Each and every sub-county has an administrator. Each and every ward has an administrator. Yes, we will admit that we've not been able to roll out the offices as fast as we should have, but in many of these instances, they do share offices with the national administration, the DOs, the chiefs. True or false? So if you go to those offices, you will be able to find a team from the county that will help you. We are decentralizing down to the ground. So apart from these people who are standing here, we also have people from each of our sectors, from environment, from urban planning, from trade, from agriculture, from lands, all down at the sub-county level. Let us activate and make sure that these things are followed up. In terms of moving forward, garbage collection still is a challenge. We are collecting more garbage. When we came into office, we were doing about how much was it? 600 tons a day. Now we're doing 1,800 tons a day, reaching Dandora. So there's still a lot more work to be done. The use of youth groups is something that we are actually planning to put into play. We do work with some youth groups, but sometimes there's also the whole issue of discipline among them as well, because some of them collect from your homes, but don't reach Dandora. So that's one of the issues that we face as a county. So we're doing double work. We're also going to collect from where they're dumping. So that is something that we need to handle. I think in closing, most of the issues raised, let's promise, Governor did give a date of 19th of September. The people who stood up in this room from each of the different sectors, we will still be around on the 19th of September, and this meeting will happen. And we'll be coming to check what has happened and move forward. But we won't wait until the 19th. We will keep working, right? So the people that I've asked you to take a look and see, let's follow from there. In terms of licensing of establishments, that is in my area. So I'm going to stand here and take responsibility for that. We are still looking and working closely with other wings. I'd like Mr. Francis Munyambu to stand, and I would like Dr. Ntoiti to stand as well. In terms of enforcement, he's in charge, Dr. Ntoiti at the back is in charge of the sub-county administration, and Mr. Francis Munyambu is in charge of the inspectorate. What we are finding is this: we still have an issue, they can be seated now. We still have an issue whereby sometimes information does not reach us at the center. And so we'd like to urge you, especially when it comes to opening of bars and some of the restaurants within the residential areas, they open up thinking that we won't get there. But we want you to be our eyes and our ears. We worked very well with Applecross in Lavington. The minute it happened, they called us and we shut it down. And that was because there was a lot of effort from everybody on the ground to get it to happen. We have a major issue in Kilimani. In fact, we're going to have a meeting after this meeting, specifically with Kilimani Residents Association, because we find that there's defiance. We're arresting people, we are charging them in court, we're even confiscating the equipment. But 2 days later, they buy new equipment and they're back on the ground. So we are actually appealing to the courts as well. God is seated there, that at the end of the day, I think the fines need to be more punitive for people who are breaking the law, because that is the issue that we are facing. We have numerous court orders against us, some of them totally binding because they go to the Constitutional Court and they say that we are infringing on their right of freedom of association. So these are things that we are fighting, and we are not giving up. I think I said it very clearly to Kilimani. We will keep going out. So this time with the meeting that we're going to have here, it's not just Kilimani. We've invited Perak, the bar owners, to be here. And we're going to try and find a solution, because unfortunately in Kilimani area, it's a mixed use. You have commercial and you have residential. So those are things that we are looking into. In terms of the planning permissions before building, we shall follow it up with Madam Rose and her department and make sure that those are followed. Is there anything I have missed?
Procedure for change of user.
Okay, procedure for change of user. Can I ask Madam Rose or even, come and just quickly give us that procedure?
The procedure for application of change of use, that is change of use of a property that was originally planned for a different use, is spelled out in the Act, like you're following the Physical Planning Act. And therefore you have to engage a consultant, a planning consultant, a registered planner, who evaluates all the issues around and looks at the location where the change of use is located, prepares a planning brief, then submits online. Everything now, we don't interact with the consultants, they apply online. They apply online and we circulate it to all the other departments of the county so that they can have all the issues addressed. Once, if we receive an objection to that change of use as we are processing, the process is stopped. And we form a team to evaluate the material issues that the objectors have raised. What are they complaining about? Is it something that is really injurious to their existence? And in most cases, we call the team. So we need resident associations to be organized in such a way that we can call you. We have a lot of you complaining, but when you follow, you don't get a group. Well, sorry, let me not talk. I mean, I have a case. We have several cases where we get comments and we want to invite you for a place for the consultant to present. You see, you cannot understand a project unless it's presented to you so that you see the elements that can be injurious to your existence. So in most cases where the project is strategic and is having a negative impact, we stop it and we communicate. In other cases, and I know why she's asking why there are so many changes of use, most changes of use you're seeing is people moving from single dwelling to multi-dwelling, particularly in South Sea. And I spoke about it. It's all intertwined because people have a small house and now they have sold the property. So the person who has come wants to do apartments. Those changes of use, then the impact has to be checked against the plan that we have as a city, particularly the one that I'm talking about. And in most cases, we've actually called neighborhood associations, and particularly we don't want to deal with a chairman or a secretary. We want to deal with a group so that we call the consultant to come and present to them. And in most cases, when consultants come and present, you find the neighbors have no objection with that change of use.
You put in consideration.
Okay, let me also say this. The Physical Planning Act spells out how you should consult it's not very clear on how the public should be consulted. But what we decided at the Nairobi City County is to put it on the newspaper, and where possible, ask somebody to put a board on the change of use on the site. And in most cases, the owners are not putting sideboards; they are putting in the newspapers.
Do you consult the water people about sewage system?
Oh yes, oh yes. I am talking integrated here. I think they are here. Engineer Muguna is here. Engineer Karanja is there. These items, the elements are all circulated to them.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to make a brief comment, and it may not be politically correct, but I shall say it anyway. We hear a lot of stories about big people at City Hall. And half the time, those big people really don't exist, right? If you have an actual letter that was signed by an individual saying City Hall, somebody, whatever is that, please, we'd like to know who that individual is who has signed that letter. And we will deal with it accordingly, because that is absolutely unprofessional. It doesn't matter who owns what. It matters what is right. So if you can come see us, you've seen the CECs here, see me. If you know the name, tell us, and it will be dealt with.
Thank you. Could we give a round of applause, please, to Madam Anel Toro on behalf of the Governor, the CECs here represented, the sub-county administrators, the ward administrators, if they are here. Thank you very much for attending the second CARA Forum. There is a third on the 19th, but it is not my place to wind up this session. May I kindly ask the Chief Executive Officer, Henry Ochieng, to make the final remarks. Karibu.
Let's clap for Michael, please. I think he has done a marvelous job guiding us through the program up to the end. We've had a lot of discussion, we've had a lot of issues, but I think what is emerging clearly is that we need to do more in terms of implementing what we have said we are going to implement. There are a number of areas that we had discussed at the first forum, and they're still outstanding. So I think moving forward, and the governor mentioned this, we don't have to wait for the governors forum to talk about these issues. So we had talked about having a liaison committee between the county government and CARA, so that we can review these issues even on a monthly basis and see where we are at. This makes it easier for us to be able to monitor progress and make adjustments where necessary. So I'm going to ask the county government, Dr. Isi is here, and I know God will give some legal advice on this. From this meeting, if you can sit down and agree on the composition of the liaison committee to specifically monitor the issues that are being raised in this forum and ensure that what has been said will be done is done. Because I think it will become a disappointment if we keep meeting after every 3 months and we realize that we've only done 20% of what we discussed. We want to have a report of having done maybe 80% of what we've agreed. And the only way of doing that is to have regular monitoring of what we've discussed and what has been agreed. So as a way forward, please let's have the liaison committee in place. And as we do the progress, monitor the progress, as CARA will be communicating to our members on what specific issues are being addressed, where we are at, and what is pending and what is being done about it. I think that will save us a lot of time, so that when we meet this kind of a platform, we are talking perhaps about new issues or just explaining what is, how we are going to address whatever is outstanding. So that is number one. Number two, and this is in regard to what Rose Mema has just mentioned, about trying to consult residents and then they're not able to put them together. Please work with CARA. If you need to consult a particular resident association about issues of change of visa or any other matter, let us know. We'll be able to communicate to them. We'll be able to ask them to get their people together, and you are going to speak to them. You know, at times it's difficult if you call a chairman, for instance, without proper information. They can't pass the information down to the people because they are not having adequate and comprehensive information of what you want to communicate. So work with us as CARA. These are our members. We'll communicate whatever we need to do to communicate to them and make sure that that is done. I saw a number of sub-county administrators in the room, and I'm happy that they're here. But I'm sure that most of us don't know where they sit and how to contact them. So again, I'm going to request that if we can have the full list of all the sub-county administrators, plus their contacts, their numbers and their emails, if that can be shared so that we can circulate it to the membership, so that each member can be able to know who is in charge of their respective areas, that will make it easier for them to engage. and issues to be addressed. So I hope that we can get that information after this meeting. There's the issue about recognition agreement. I know a few of our members are already engaging the county government, and that is based on the law that was passed about the engagement between the resident associations and the county government. We want to request that as many of us as possible embrace this opportunity. But I think for purpose of coordination and monitoring, let's have this done in collaboration with the resident associations and CARA. Because there are people who have already done that, but the people who want to do it, but they don't know how to go about it. So again, and this is to the county government and also to our members, let's engage in a structured way, and let, if you want to have the recognition agreement with the county government, let us have the tripartite arrangement where CARA is involved and informed, the county government is informed, and then the member who wants to get into it, because issues are different for different members, and it will be good for us to have an idea what is it that you've committed, and also support in terms of monitoring that the agreement is being implemented. So it's important that we be able to follow up on that. And just like you had earlier, now we have a representation in the Planning Approval Committee. Most of the issues we've talked about here are actually revolving around planning. If you can be able to get the planning aspect right, we will not be having this kind of issues. So we want to make use of this opportunity or this slot in the committee to ensure that the issues that are being raised are addressed at the committee level. So we'll be looking forward to the county government providing us with very clear schedule and procedures of the committee, but also to our members. Now we'll be able to take up whatever issues that is passed through us, or passed about planning, through our representative, Mr. Kitakia, and make sure that they find a place in the discussion that is taking place at the committee level, and we're able to provide feedback. And of course, the other committees that are relevant to our work, we are also looking forward to making sure that we have representation there and have issues addressed at the point where decisions are being made, and we're able to articulate our expectations and where we want to proceed. Just to look at, emphasize the issue about which was mentioned by one of the members, I think he has left, about the agency collaboration between the county government and resident associations. Resident associations want to be part of the solution. Of course, there are cases where people feel frustrated that things are not happening right. But one way that can be able to be part of that particular process is to take advantage of the existing law about engagement between the county government and the resident association to enter into agency arrangement, so that as the residents support your work, for instance, in rent collection, they're also able to get some kind of maybe revenue to run their affairs, because they also need to be able to take care of some areas. So this issue of agency arrangement, I think, is something that is very important. We need to look at the modalities and agree on how we are going to move forward. There was something about security coordination. I agree. We have to do more in terms of providing information and direction on how to address issues of security at the neighborhood level. So those are just cross-cutting issues that I picked and I thought we need to raise as part of the way forward. But I think, like I said earlier, this should be a quarterly platform. And like you've heard, we have a date for 19th of September, and we'll make sure that that date is kept. The other thing is that I'm not sure we've had adequate and comprehensive response to the issues that were raised at the first forum. So I'm going to ask the team from the county government if we can have some written response to those specific issues, because we provided a schedule, a table that contained each of those issues. And I had the impression that those issues had been responded to, each of them separately. So if you can be able to have written response on the progress that has been made in addressing those issues, that will enable us to share it with members so that we're able to monitor their specific issues and see what is being done. I know we've responded to some of the new issues that are emerging, but I think it's important that we also have very proper and clear response to the issues that we discussed and raised at the first forum. In that way, we're making progress and will not be coming here for like a talk shop. So we'll follow up on that, and we'll ensure that we have detailed and more comprehensive response to the various issues that were raised at the forum. So ladies and gentlemen, those are what we could be able to look at in terms of way forward. We will continue engaging, we'll continue looking at other mechanisms and aspects. If you look at the law that we passed, that was enacted, it has many ways that we can be able to collaborate and engage with the county government. So we want to make sure that that legislation is alive. We are testing and implementing the various provisions that are provided there, and we are reaping the benefits of having that particular law in place. We are now moving to other counties. We've already had the one for Kiambu enacted. We are going to the other counties like Machakos and the ones that are surrounding Nairobi. But our intention and our vision is to make sure that all the 47 counties, particularly the urban areas that is cosmopolitan, all of them have a legislation that governs the relationship between the county government and the resident association and of course other community-based organizations, so that we have meaning to this issue of public participation. As it is now, the constitution is very rich about public participation, but in terms of the actuals, in terms of the thresholds of public participation, it's still a gray area. And one of the ways we think we can address this is having legislation in place that clearly stipulate what does it mean and how do we engage between the resident associations or the public and the county government. So we hope that we should be able to get to that level where all the counties are actually embracing and have guidelines on how to address the issue of public participation. With those many or few comments, allow me to bring this session to a close.